G'day legends, Gaz here, and welcome to the garage. Or actually, I'm in the office today. I thought I'd try something a little bit different and film it a little bit more comfortably in my office. You can see a few things behind me just scattered around that still remind me that I'm in the workshop. But how's your week been? Friday, so week's over. Can't wait for the weekend. Not much happening RC wise, but let's what's happening in this tonight's show is we're going to discuss my top five American drivers. Going to have a chat about what's happening in motorsport around the country and around the world this weekend. What's happening in the RC world, and just have a brief discussion on how I deal with stress and everything. So let's throw the shed door open and get this show up on the bench, and let's start going. So jump into it. G'day guys, and welcome back. Let's jump right into the show with start with my top five American drivers in no particular order. They are my top five rating wise. I guess when you look at when the list comes out, definitely my number one driver at the moment in the US across the board, all disciplines, would be Kyle Larson. The guy can drive anything and does drive it pretty well. Everything from micro sprints up to sprint cars, NASCAR, IndyCar, you name it, he does it and does it extremely well. He's a natural talent. He must be pretty good and must be rated pretty highly because the guys like Tony Stewart and that pick him as their all-time driver. So what he's done of late in sprint cars, and owns the High Limit Series, or co-owns the High Limit Series, runs a limited sprint car program, runs NASCAR, runs the O'Reilly Series, you name it. He'll pretty well drive it. Did the Tulsa Shootout, and acquitted himself rather well there as well. Flew out here and won the High Limit round in WA late last year or early this year. The guy's a talent, and for someone so young to achieve so much, I believe he's going to do the double again, the Daytona 500 and the IndyCar, same weekend. He works hard and applies his craft pretty well, and his kids are coming up through the ranks now as well, which is a pretty scary prospect. So moving on to number two, the man who nominated Kyle Larson as the number one driver is Tony Stewart. The guy has driven everything from sprint cars, late models. Now he's turned his hand to top fuel racing and dragsters, and doing rather well as well. Filled in for his wife last year while she was off on maternity leave, drove her car and won around and all that sort of stuff. So he's a talent. One of the freaks of natures when it comes to drivers. Had some bad luck, gets a bit aggressive. Been known to throw his helmet at people. Had an unfortunate incident which caused with a sprint car driver competitor being hit by a car and being killed, which was silly on both parts. But standing, you don't know, you weren't there, so I wasn't there. I can't say too much about it, but Tony Stewart and now as a team owner, and that as well. His nieces and nephews are starting to get into it as well. They're starting to turn laps in sprint cars and 410s and stuff like that. So you can't have your top five without Tony's being in it. Next in line is a NASCAR driver, and he's just a personal favourite of mine, is Dale Jr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Retired from race, pretty semi-retired, I guess. He jumps in every now and then, does a late model run, or an Ocra Series race or something like that. Is putting a lot back into NASCAR itself. Has a fair bit to say, and he should be listened to as well because he knows that he's been there, done that. His dad was a legend of the sport, so when he says stuff to NASCAR and says stuff about NASCAR, people should sit up and listen because the guy does know what he's talking about. Has a really good podcast over there as well, or a couple of really good podcasts that I'm listening to and subscribe to. And he's done a lot in the sport and continues to do a lot with talent ID and stuff like that with younger drivers coming through, and has got a group of good young drivers that he's had through his doors as well. My next driver, now I'm going to get a bit of heat about this, saying he's not really a driver. Travis Pastrana, the guy is gifted. No matter what he jumps into and drives and rides or whatever, he does extremely well. Like the guy, freestyle motocross is his thing, or motocross. He's driven rally cars, stadium trucks. He's had a couple of NASCAR runs. He's the truck series, boats, you name it. He's driven it and done it extremely well. Even jumped into a sprint car. Was a bit big for the car, so I wasn't really feeling comfortable in it, but did acquitted himself rather well in the laps that he did turn. The guy is a natural talent, and he's you've got to have him in your top five when you're speaking of drivers. And then rounding out my top five is Donny Schatz. Now, sprint car guy mainly, and has done some late model stuff as well. So another very talented steerer. Still running around now. The guy's in his early 50s or late 40s, early 50s now. Lost his drive with TSR last year. They went their own way after so many years together. Running a program now in Outlaws and a couple of high limit stuff as well. And was a regular visitor to Australian shores, driving for Weatherall, drove for everyone actually when he just come over here, and won everything when he raced over here. It was funny that he went all season in 1 year in America without bending a top wing, and he comes over here and has a rollover, gets caught up in somebody else's mess and bends a wing, which is highly unusual for him. A very good travelling driver, knows his stuff, has got a pretty good package and all that as well. So yeah, the guy is in my top five. So yeah, a couple of honourable mentions that you can't talk about naming your top five drivers without the Andretti's. Either of them, Mario, John, Michael, they're all pretty talented drivers, and have done a lot with Speedway and things like that. Steve Kinser, definitely as well. Sammy Swindell, you can definitely pull in there. So it's a hard five to really pick if you had to name your top five drivers. So who would your top five drivers be? Let me know in my comments or whatever. Send me a message. Let's open for discussion. I'm keen to hear your top five. So yeah, that's the top five drivers for me at American. And my next top five I'm going to do next week. I'm probably going to do top five. I don't know. Let me know what you want to see as my top five. Could be anything. It could be tools that I use in the toolbox. It could be top five brands, top five engine builders, top five whatever. Shoot me a message. Let me know who you'd like to see in the top five. So moving on, what's happening in the world of motorsport or in garage land this week? Around the country, around Australia, around the world. This week, the guys, it's the GT4 series in Tallumbend, and it's also the Porsche Michelin Sprint Cup. So some drivers over there. Young Oscar Target's running around over there in his GT4 program. Renee Gracie will be over there. Yeah, so Method Motorsports team have all headed across over there with Jared Hughes and co. So should be a good weekend. They put on some really good racing. Last weekend in Brisbane, Queensland, we had the TA2 series and everything on up there at Queensland Raceway. What a great weekend event that is. Bang for buck, grassroots motorsports. Those TA2 cars are sensational to watch. Alice Buckley won with Timmy Slade, won the Enduro series again. That's back to back, which is an awesome effort to go back to back. And it was a stacked field as well. You had Brody Kostecki running with Nash Morris. You had Jared Hughes was running with the young Kiwi, and the field was a stacked field and some good racing and some rubbing and some door handle stuff, and Barb's was biffing and barging his way through like normal, and it was good. And they have a really weird sort of a penalty system. They have a yellow card system or a red card system, and Marcus Ambrose is running that series and runs it well, that race meeting. A race of running a racing series, which is good to see. Supercars are having dramas, with the chief executive officers moved on there. It's losing it for me as a series. It's not financially viable now to go and watch a supercar around. You're not going to get any change out of $100, whereas you can go to these AA shows and things like that, and you're paying $40 for a weekend pass, and you just sit in the back of your car and you can watch it for from have a tailgate party or whatever on the back straight at QR or things like that. Really doing it well. They had the Formula Ford there as well, and Formula 4, as well as the TA2s and things like that, and production cars. So yeah, some good entry level racing there. The Formula Ford series, it's good to see that's a national series again now. It's a good stepping stone from go-karts up into an open wheeler category. It used to be huge. Back when I was younger and I ran a few rounds in it as well. It was the Driver to Europe series. If you won the series, you got a test in Europe or what ran at Brands Hatch or something like that from memory. And yeah, it was good. It was the old 1600cc Ford motors, the Escorts or the Kent Formula Fords, and now they've gone. I think they're running a 2 litre now, or the Focus engine. But yeah, still a good bang for buck. And it's a grafting sort of category as well. You got to learn how to drive those cars and manipulate the tyres and things like that. They're basically a radial type tyre anyway. No downforce, or very little downforce, and no wings, no nothing. So, and a groove tyre. I see Adam De Borre is running around now with his son in it, and crediting himself rather well in it. And to have Adam De Borre in your corner as your engineer, and is a huge thing. So he'll go rather well. A lot of young drivers getting out there in Formula 4 as well. It's good to see that's still running around, and yeah, it gives you options out of go-karts. Not everyone's got $1 million to go Super 2, so yeah, to be able to run a Formula 4 or things like that on a secondary season series type thing is awesome. It opens up the doors, gets you in front of people as well, because a lot of the big teams now are looking at TA2 and that for co-drivers. Like, look at Jared Hughes as an Erebus co-driver and stuff like that. He's running around in GT4. He's driving at everything he can to get his name out there and doing a good job. Same with Nash Morris, drives everything. They had the legend cars there as well, another fun little category. They're the precursor really for the Aussie race cars, and they can be run on dirt as well as bitumen, the legend cars, and they're another good little category, which they had 30 or 33 or 34 of them there running around on the weekend. Awesome to see. You probably buy one, I think, for about 30k and go racing for about the same for the year. I guess you wouldn't spend too much money as long as you don't have crashes and things. And it's a 2-day sort of event now. That's condensing it to. That's what racing should be. It's when it turns out to be like even go-karts now. AKC's 4 days. By the time you get there on Thursday and set up, practice Friday, race Saturday, Sunday, and you're out of there Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and yeah, it's a 4-day weekend. It kind of takes the value out of it. There's no, and the tyres you're throwing at it in practice, and then you dial in, you qualify on your tyres, and you scan that tyre set in for the weekend. But it's still a lot of money when you're throwing 3 sets of tyres at it in practice and things like that, and then go racing. And if you finish in the top 5, you're getting your motor stripped and things like that, so then you've got to pay your engine builder for the motor to be rebuilt. Karting is kind of, at a national level now, it's kind of outpricing itself. It's not really realistic for the family racing anymore. Club racing is still great, but some of the clubs have outgrown the club racing sort of thing now. Ipswich, now, as much as it's my home club, it's a shame, because it's they're getting high 200s to a meet, and they're national class drivers in all the classes now as well that call Ipswich home. Great for Ipswich as a club, beautiful. Like, you want members, but it's making it's not fun now for the Joe Average to rock up with his dad in cadet 9s to go racing, mum and dad, and that. It's losing that now at Ipswich. You got to go further afield to Toowoomba or Warwick or Lismore for that sort. If you want that sort of club racing and learning your craft, when you're ready to take the step up to national stuff, yeah, the race at Ipswich is good. Even in Masters, to run Ipswich there, you're racing against guys now who have just turned 40 and who are number ones, have run green plates or blue plates somewhere. And they're still racing really well, accrediting themselves really, really well. Like you look at your Brendan Nelsons and stuff like that, running around still. Those guys don't mess about, and they can steer. And yeah, it's kind of not really a club racing sort of venue anymore, or a club. It's a national series week in week out there type thing, because you get your big name teams that are there regularly, like your Tyler Greenberry's team, all that sort of stuff. They're there week in week out testing, and then if they run an AKC round or something like that, they still got a fairly heavy contingent in that tent, and they're guys that they don't muck around. They take their racing seriously, and they put the effort in, and they get the results. You can't take that away, but it's not a club run, not club racing anymore. Like if you want that in Queensland, you got to go to Warwick or somewhere like that, which is good. But Warwick are getting more and more numbers as well. Toowoomba's getting more and more numbers. Maryborough, or Bundaberg, sorry, and Gympie are getting more and more numbers. So yeah, it's that kind of. It's the question you got to ask yourself, and the conversation you got to have when if your kid wants to get into racing. So yeah, what else? They had a round at the club championship there, which last weekend, which was hugely attended as usual. It was the KA 100 championships or club point score series. They highlighted a category or two classes on a club day, which is good. They get time, they get qualifying, they get things like that. Everyone else just gets the carby, and it's random draw and goes from there. When you got every class and are pretty well oversubscribed, in some classes you got to cut things where you can, otherwise you're going to be there for 2 days, and you don't want that. It's too hard for the members and too hard for the officials and that as well. So what else has been happening around the traps? That was last weekend. The karting, the cars are back from New Zealand now. They'll be going off, getting ready to leave for Tasmania. I think it was the weekend after next is Tassie for the supercars. So yeah, the containers landed on the weekend. Cars are out, service prepped, repaired in some stage, and they'll be put in the truck to leave. I guess they'll probably be leaving next week sometime to head down to Tassie, get down and get on the boat, and away you go. So it's a tight turnaround for those guys to get the cars out of the container and get all that sort of stuff happening, repack the truck and things. So yeah, they'll be getting ready to go. It's a long gap too for the the series. That's where you kind of lose your spectator base. It's good to be every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. You're going to get supercars. You're not going to be waiting 4 or 5 weeks between rounds. You kind of loses momentum. That's my opinion anyway, and that's what supercars are doing wrong. They're running themselves too thin. But hey, smarter than me making those decisions. So yeah, people with more money than me are racing those series. So yeah, it's up to them. But as a fan and as a motorsport, I'm a purist, I suppose. Give myself a minute. You want to be there. You want to be seeing racing, every 2 to 3 weeks. You don't want to be waiting 5 to 6 weeks for your next round. That's why America with NASCAR, like they're week in, week out, off they go. But their programs are a lot bigger as well. They're running 5 or 6 cars. They got to change over truck and all that sort of stuff to big teams. They'll be running, say at Charlotte this weekend, but the truck's already on its way to wherever the next race meeting is, and the crew fly in and fly out the morning of the race. So it's a different sort of operation over there to what we got, and I don't think supercars will ever be that extreme over here. So, which is good because the money is different. So what else is going on in the world? Well, yeah, sprint cars are going just about winding down. Our speedway season's just about done and dusted. Had the dirt modified title and the late model title in Toowoomba last weekend at the High Banks of Toowoomba High Tech Speedway. From what I saw, the highlights and that, it was an awesome race meeting. Those late models, they get around and they look awesome too. That's probably my third favourite category in Speedway in the country. Definitely sprint cars is my favourite, and then you got your dirt mods, and then your late model, and then the rest of your open wheel category after that. But yeah, give me a late model race any day, particularly around Toowoomba. It looked awesome. And the guy who won it went back to back. The current Australian champion is I'm sorry, I forgot his name, and my memory isn't that good. I can't even remember who won the dirt mod either, to be honest. I should have written that down so I could have given you a bit better update. But those in the know will know who won that. So yeah, it was a good race meeting, and it was good to see. They also had the compact title or something up in Bundaberg. and the 360s are getting around and things like that. So yeah, there's a fair bit of speedway just winding down, and a lot of the leading teams now are preparing. The drivers are getting ready to head overseas, off to the US to do their programs. I know, yeah, I think Jai Corbett's heading back over again. Ryan Newton, I know, is definitely going over for a good couple of months. And the Adard boys, like I mentioned last episode, they're heading over. So yeah, there'll be a couple of good Australian steerers heading over there, and mixing it with the regulars that are over there, McFadden and those guys, Madsons, who base themselves over there now. I did notice Brooke Tapnell's son having a run in a 410 in testing during the week. Looked pretty good, looked pretty comfortable in the car. So young Garrett, yeah, he'll, third generation. God help the world, another Tapnell coming in. But yeah, he held his own in testing, so let's see how him, and with Brooke in his corner planning his future, yeah, it'll be good to see. Also, young Jet Johnson is having a run in Speedway as well, climbing aboard a Formula 500 for a run in the next couple of weeks as well, which will be good for him. He's a very handy steerer, just needed some time out to get himself right and things like that. So yeah, I think he'll do well if that's the progress he's going to run. Going through the program he's going to run, if he's going to run dirt track, and it'll be good. It'll be good to have him in there. He's a good young driver and a good personality, and to have his dad, in his corner, and his granddad as well. Like, Johnson name in motorsport in Queensland or in Australia is well known. So it'd be good to see what he does heading into next year and that as well, next season. So yeah, interesting times ahead with Speedway with Jet Johnson. So that'd be good to watch. So what else has been going on? Lots have been happening in the world. The Giz is having Watkins Glen is coming up, and I know he's running O'Reilly and he wants to run the truck again. Scotty McLaughlin's going pretty well over there in the IndyCar still. He's, next year is his year. I reckon he'll win the championship. So yeah, that's my prediction. RC wise with us, we've got Outlaws next Saturday night at Pit Pass. My cars at the moment are down getting shock rebuilds. I've got all the shocks down at Black Knight getting rebuilt and going from there, because I was having terrible understeer problems and things like that. So we've narrowed it down to shock absorber issues. So hopefully that should be sorted. I'll take the Outlaw down and get the shocks done as well for next weekend. And yeah, go from there. The other interesting thing is toying with the idea of whether to go dirt go-karts or speedway kart with my kart that I got sitting in the garage at the moment, where they have a steer. Leaning towards dirt go-karts at Willowbank there. Going back to where it all started for Georgia. Good little fun club. They're getting 150, close to 200 karts there some nights as well, with 2-stroke and 4-strokes on the same program. So yeah, toying with the idea of running that. Open to hear your thoughts on which way to go, whether to run speedway or dirt track. Just for a bit of fun, don't forget I'm in mid-50s now. It's not serious, and the body's not there anymore. The mind's willing, but the body's not. Let's put it that way. So yeah, just open myself up a little bit more, have a bit more fun, get out there, do a bit more stuff. Use the toys I've got sitting in the garage. It's got a fresh X30 motor and stuff like that sitting there. Got a spare engine, got the cart, got everything. So just a matter of pushing myself and getting out there, committing myself to doing it. I made my comeback on bitumen last year and did a couple of rounds, but yeah, still I wasn't enjoying it because the guys I was racing with, they were taking it a whole lot more serious than what I was. So I'm looking probably down the route of running dirt go-karts with it. So that'll be a good bit of fun, no stress, don't take it too seriously, even if I just do practice nights. So that's in the garage. What else am I working on in there at the moment? The trailer's coming along nicely. It's pretty well sorted out how I want it. I've done a few walkthroughs with it now. Probably seen the video I did not so long back on it, on the trailer, how I set up the pits and the garage and everything like that. I'm just getting there. It's a work in progress. Just about everything fits in there now. When I need it, I've got all the parts and everything I need for each car. the RC car or the go karts, everything is sitting down there in different in set spots now. So I'm almost happy with the organisation of that. So yeah, it's coming along nicely. And what else is going on in the garage? That's about it, really. The Outlaw's sitting there ready to go. I've started work on next year's livery and all that sort of stuff. How we're going to stick a kit, do a couple of tribute packages and things like that as well. So stay tuned for that. Brings me to better do a supporter shout out as well. Yeah, I'm rocking the Alpha hunting outdoor and hunting supplies t-shirt. Those guys out there, like I keep saying, and Jason and the team, for all your hunting needs, anything you need, I've got it on the thing. Bucked off as well. The other side of the shop for caps, t-shirts, whatever, bags. I'm going to do a bit of a highlight of my bags that I travel with, my travel bags. So stay tuned for that. That'll be up on the socials over the weekend. So yeah, without them, I don't have Gaz's Garage, basically. They help me out with all my merch and everything like that. And yeah, good bunch of guys. Good family business as well. Brings me to, how, conversation. I've had a few conversations with mates and that, dealing with the stress and anxiety and stuff like that goes with life. I've had a rough couple of weeks with my anxiety. It comes and goes, like it peaks and lows. It depends on what's going on around me and thing. And with the anniversary of my cousin's passing and that the week before last and things, everything just kind of got to me the last couple of weeks, and the anxiety and having to really push myself to get out and do my job and to see people was a struggle. And I spent a bit of time with my psychologist and come up with some things, and it's part of the process of that, and is this talking about it, and also is the just taking a step back, taking a breath, and don't let it get to you. Don't let it override you is the big thing. Don't drown in it is my big thing. Enjoy the sunsets or the sunrises. Be thankful for something daily. Like I do my daily gratitude thing, something that I'm grateful for that day. Could be, this thing as my RM Williams boots. Not everyone has them. And to be able to wear them every day is something to be grateful for. Current fuel prices, current housing climate, there's all sorts of things going on in the world that makes it hard to be positive, stay positive. But you've got to, positive that I'm grateful I've got a job every day. Every month my pay goes into my bank account. I'm grateful for that. I know monthly is a struggle at times, and at budgeting after all these years, I've been doing it now for 9 years or so coming up. I still can't, budget for everything. Something always goes wrong towards the end of the month and leaves you scrambling for money and things like that. But, you get there. But I'm grateful I don't have I don't have to fuel my own car at the moment. I've got a fuel card for work and things like that. The fuel I run is in my bike. But I am looking at getting my own car soon so I can set it up for touring and that for next year and things like that. So when I get my long service leave, I'm going to go and play farmer for a month. Take a month off work and go play farmer with somebody, go drive a machine, follow the cotton season or whatever, down with a contractor, just pick up a contracting run and head down and do the full month or 6 weeks or whatever it is, and just do something totally different to look at what I want to do when I get closer to retirement age or semi-retirement age. And that's my plan B is now I've had to enact, because plan A was to buy my own farm, but mid-50s now, single income. Come to the realisation that unless something majorly changes in my life, that's not going to happen. So plan B is just rent a place, work as a caretaker or something like that as I get older, and just help out that way. Drive a truck 3 or 4 days a week or things like that. Be debt free by the time I'm 60. Pay off my ute that I want to buy, my caravan or whatever, and just cruise along. And that's the plan. That's what I aim to. I've got a vision board that I look at every day and take the steps to get there. And that helps with the anxiety that you got at your plan B, things are settled. It's not like I'm scrambling from day to day to make money and things like that. I've got a good job that I like, and I'm there for as long as I want to be there, type thing. Like I've been coming up 9 years now at the end of June, so I'm obviously doing something well there. They kept me on this long, so it's trying to not to stress about that, and not let it become and things that happen out of my control at work. I know they're my customers, and I put my customers first among everything else. But I can't control everything that goes on. I don't do the installs. I don't paint the things. I don't do this. I don't do. So try not to let it get to me. If the customer has a gripe about it, listen, and then put a plan in place to fix their issue. And it's no point in stressing about it and getting myself wound up and cranky, and it's no fun. It's a sickening feeling, and I've got to let them do it and let them have their say, then move on from it, which is hard for me because I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to stuff like that. I'm very passionate about a lot of things, and I should be passionate about other things in life, but I'm not, and that's what I'm working on as well. So yeah, take a breath is the big thing that I'm working on, and it's something that my cousin used to say to me all the time. Just stop, take a breath, think about it, and then go again, and you can work it out from there. So when things get a bit much for me at times, even I take a breath. I might just pull up on the side of the road and just get out of the car and just have a look at the scenery around me and take it all in, and just enjoy what's around you. Like some of the countryside I see and some of the things I see out and about are sensational. Like I'm lucky with my hobbies that I've had around my life, and I've made some good friends. I've got to rekindle those friendships. I've got to start doing more stuff with friends. I love my barbecuing and stuff like that, so I've got to start doing more of that. And that's my aim for this year, is to start to do more things like that. Get back into the barbecuing and the barbecue competitions and things like that. Get back into my hobbies, things that I enjoy doing. Get on my bike more often, go for a bike ride and coffee and that somewhere, and try to meet people and find people with the common interests. I'm lucky that with the RC cars, it's a good friend of mine that I had for Craig and I have been mates for over 50 years now. We met back in 1975 at primary school, and we've been mates ever since. We share common interests with motorsport. He got me into the RC cars, and I look forward to seeing him. And I've built up other friends that I made through the RC cars, and that Gavin and those guys, to share my interests with those people, and with Ruben and Curdy and Jeff and all the members of the club, and Brock and even Blake from Black Knight RC, and he's good value, good for a laugh, a bit young and a bit wet around the ears at times, but he's still good fun. But so you got to get into your hobby and enjoy it and take time out. Like I got my golf club sitting behind me. I got to make the effort to get out and play golf more often. My daughter's boyfriend wants to play. My brother-in-law plays. My nephews all play. We make time and get out there and have a hit once a month. A laugh, a cigar, a beer, and whatever. That's part of dealing with it. So you really got to push yourself to get out of your ruts, and push yourself to get away from the anxiety. It's not going to kill you. I am OCD, and I know that, and I just finished all my memory tests and all that, so I haven't got early onset Alzheimer's or anything like that. All my memory issues and stuff like that are from my mental health, from my depression and things like that. So it's all linked back to that. So now we know what it is. We know what we're dealing with now with my GP and my psychologist and my psychiatrist. We've got to work out a plan to move forward. And I got to stick to the plan. And if curveballs get thrown at me, I got to know how to react and things like that. So that's my big thing, and that's my big message to everybody as well, to all you guys, all my dozen or so followers. Speak. Don't be scared. Don't hold back. Don't hold things in, and talk to your mates about it. Talk to your psychologist. Talk to your doctor. Talk to a counsellor if you need to, like TX. that through men through Trademark and those guys. If you're a tradie in that talk, everyone's under pressure at the moment. Everyone's feeling the heat. Farmers, I know, I'd hate to be a farmer at the moment with a couple of $1 million worth of crop sitting in the ground or waiting to be planted and things like that, and you got a bank overdraft and not easy. And speak up, put your hand up, and if somebody asks you how you are, don't just skirt it off and say living the dream. That to me, that's just you're just fobbing the guy off. If someone asks how you are, just say yeah, hey, I'm all right. No, I'm not all right. They're not going to ask you if they don't care. They're not asking you just for out of the sake of asking. So if someone asks you how you are, and you're not okay, say, hey mate, no, I'm kind of struggling. You got a minute? Let's have a coffee. Let's have a beer. If you want to have a chat with me, by all means, send me a message saying, hey Gaz, let's catch up. Let's, happy to go for a beer, coffee, just a chat, a walk or whatever. Go for a bike ride and take the motorbikes out, and we can go for a ride somewhere, and then we can just go through and stop for a coffee and have a chat, and it clears your head. You need somebody around you. You need that network of people, and don't be scared. Don't be embarrassed. That was my biggest thing for years. I was embarrassed that I wasn't struggling. I was brought up in the generation that men just keep on keeping on. We don't show emotion. We don't let things get to us. We don't show things that get to us, but it does. And it cripples you, and it can be worse as well. It does go totally, and you do look for exits. I've been fortunate. I haven't had a hard look at exiting. It's crossed my mind every now and then, but not recently. But there's too much to lose that I'll be walking away from, and you don't want to get to that point. So, if you are struggling, guys, reach out, or girls, reach out, please. Don't let things get to the point where you think you got no other option but to exit. So, that's me for another episode. I'm trying to only keep them for about half an hour or so of me chatting and talking rubbish. Remember, I'm always here for a chat, always open for a chat. My garage door, as I keep saying, is always open. If you want to come in and hang out on Tuesday night, shed night, by all means. Or you want to come to the RC track, if you want to go for a ride, by all means, reach out. Always here for you guys. Always here for anybody. Same with the people that I turn to. They're always there for me, and I appreciate them. So like I said, next episode we'll run through, I'll pick my top 5. I don't know what it's going to be yet. But I'll pop back on over the weekend with a bit of... you come with me to the RC shop tomorrow. That'll be the next thing I'll upload. I'll film some of that and we'll put it on. I'm starting to get there with my editing and things like that, so it is getting a bit better, and the shows will increase and that as well. Next episode, I'm going to discuss things with sponsorship and that as well. One of the guys sent me a comment about it. I've been doing it a long time, that I do know a few things about chasing sponsors, keeping sponsors, and things like that. It's not all about money to get off people, product and services. So I'll discuss that a bit more at length in the coming episodes, and a few other bits and pieces as well. So that's it from me. Thanks for dropping by. Remember, if you like what you see, and subscribe and share, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And like I said, I'll pop on over the weekend to do my usual stuff. Sunday will be cap of the week and Sunday reset. And we'll go from there. So remember, my shed door is always open. It's okay not to be okay, and check on your mates.